In 2026, the world's two most important shipping corridors are effectively closed. The Strait of Hormuz, blocked by conflict. The Red Sea, too dangerous for commercial vessels. Together, these two choke points handle a significant portion of everything that moves between Asia and Europe. And right now, both of them are gone. For the first time in modern history, the world's fastest trade routes have disappeared. Shipping companies are rerouting around the Cape of Good Hope, adding weeks and hundreds of millions of dollars to every voyage. Supply chains built on precision timing are unraveling in real time. The world is desperate for an alternative. And the country quietly building one is the last place anyone expected: Iraq. A nation most people associate with conflict, oil, and instability is constructing a $17 billion corridor, a railway and highway stretching 1,200 kilometers across its desert, designed to connect the Persian Gulf directly to Europe by land. It is called the Development Road, and if it works, it could permanently reshape how the world moves goods between continents. Here is what Iraq is actually building. The Development Road is a dual-track railway and multi-lane highway running 1,200 kilometers from the Persian Gulf, all the way north to the Turkish border. Freight trains will carry containers across Iraq at high speed. At the Turkish border crossing of Faish-Kabur, the corridor connects directly into Turkey's existing rail and highway networks, and from there, straight into Europe. The starting point is the Grand Al-Faw port near Basra. This is not a future plan. It is happening now. As of early 2026, the port is approaching full commercial operation. The submerged tunnel connecting it to the mainland is already in its furnishing stage, a clear signal that full operations are imminent. By early 2026, railway design has reached 88% completion, and highway design is at 78%. In December 2025, Iraqi Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani inaugurated the first 62-kilometer section, connecting Grand Al-Faw to Qasr. For the first time in its history, the development road is moving from vision to concrete. Along the 1,200-kilometer corridor, Iraq plans to build 15 industrial cities, one near each major railway station. Factories, logistics hubs, and manufacturing zones designed to turn Iraq from a transit country into a production hub. Officials estimate the full corridor could generate $4 billion in annual revenue, attract $150 billion in investment, and create more than 1.6 million jobs. Turkey alone estimates the project will bring $55 billion in economic benefits to its territory. The numbers are staggering. But the railway is only part of the story. To understand why this project carries such enormous weight, you need to understand what Iraq once was. For centuries, the land between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers was the crossroads of the ancient world. Merchants carried silk, spices, and gold through this region, connecting Asia, the Middle East, and Europe long before any canal existed. The cities of Mesopotamia were not just civilizations. They were logistics hubs, places where the world's trade routes converged and value was created. Then came colonialism, then war, then more war. For generations, Iraq's identity became defined by conflict and oil rather than commerce and connection. The Development Road is Iraq's attempt to reclaim something older than its modern reputation. Not just a railway, a return to the crossroads. The Development Road sits at the center of one of the most complex geopolitical puzzles in the world. Every country that touches this corridor has a different reason to want it and a different reason to fear it. Notice what this route does on a map. It connects the Persian Gulf to Europe entirely by land, bypassing the Strait of Hormuz, bypassing the Red Sea, and crucially, bypassing Iran. That last point is not accidental. Iran sits directly beside this corridor, and every country backing the Development Road, Turkey, UAE, Qatar, has a strategic interest in building a trade route that does not depend on Iranian goodwill or Iranian-controlled waters. This is not neutrality. This is pragmatic balancing. and every government involved knows exactly what they are doing. For Turkey, the development road is a strategic prize, connecting directly into its Middle Corridor initiative and making Ankara the gateway between the Persian Gulf and European markets. For the UAE and Qatar, it is influence, land connections to Europe that bypass volatile sea routes entirely. Even Oman, traditionally the most neutral player in the Gulf, held talks with Iraq in February 2026 to potentially join this corridor. The message from every regional power is identical. Everyone wants off the water. For the United States, a corridor anchored by Western-friendly partners is a significant counterweight to Chinese influence, which has been building ports and railways across the region for 2 decades. Iraq is attempting something extraordinarily difficult: accept investment from multiple competing powers without becoming a battlefield for their rivalry. Whether that pragmatic balance survives is the central question of this entire project. The development road faces challenges that go far beyond concrete and steel. The corridor passes through regions that have seen decades of armed conflict. Disputes between Iraq's federal government and the Kurdistan regional government remain unresolved in areas the route must cross. Armed groups operate across the security landscape. A single serious act of sabotage could halt construction for years. The financing challenge is equally daunting. 15 industrial cities along 1,200 kilometers require sustained foreign investment at a scale Iraq has never attracted before. Governments and companies do not invest at that scale in countries with unresolved security questions. And the geopolitical pressure from Iran, whose influence this corridor is explicitly designed to bypass, cannot be ignored. Tehran has significant leverage over armed groups operating in exactly the regions this railway must cross. The project is planned in 3 phases. Phase 1, the transport corridor itself, aims for completion by 2028. Phase 2, around 2033. The full vision, all 15 industrial cities, by 2050. But here is the reality that the timeline cannot capture. The trains could be running by 2028. The question is not whether the concrete holds, it is whether Iraq can keep the peace long enough to throw the switch. We return to where we started. The Strait of Hormuz closed, the Red Sea too dangerous to cross. The world's searching desperately for an alternative. The development road does not solve today's crisis. Phase 1 will not be complete until 2028. But here is what makes Iraq's project different from every other bypass plan being discussed right now. Every other alternative routes around the problem. Iraq's development road goes straight through the heart of it. A land bridge cutting across the most volatile region on Earth, connecting the Persian Gulf to Europe without touching a single contested sea lane. If it succeeds, Iraq will not just have built a railway. It will have transformed itself from the world's most unstable region into the world's most essential shortcut. The ancient crossroads of civilization, open for business again. But the same geography that makes this route so valuable also makes it so dangerous. And that tension between Iraq's enormous potential and its unresolved past is what makes the development road the most fascinating infrastructure gamble of the 21st century. We cover the infrastructure the world depends on, and the stories behind why it never stops changing, every week on the channel.